My name is McKenna Starling, and today I'm going to be talking about the National WIC Association, the history of it, and how it's associated with public health. So first I wanted to start out with what is WIC. So WIC stands for Women, Infants, and Children. It is a federal assistance program for women, infants, and children. It provides supplemental foods and formula, healthcare referrals, nutritional education and counseling, as well as breastfeeding promotion and support. Here you can see some of the foods that WIC offers, and then again they do offer formula for infants that need it. The history of WIC. So in 1972, WIC was piloted as a supplemental food program with the purpose of improving the health of pregnant mothers, infants, and children. The first WIC site opened in Kentucky in January of 1974, and by the end of 1974, WIC was operating in 45 states. In 1975, the eligibility was extended to non-breastfeeding women and children up to age 5, when it was originally provided to children up to age 4 and breastfeeding mothers only. The Loving Support Makes Breastfeeding Work campaign, which is basically providing support to mothers who are new to breastfeeding so that way they are more successful, began in 1997, and then by 2004, the Breastfeeding Peer Counselor Initiative was launched, which is basically, usually it was women who had also been through the WIC system who also became successful with breastfeeding, then became a counselor and provided that help to new breastfeeding mothers so that way they could be more successful. Who qualifies for WIC? So there are 4 requirements. First is a categorical requirement, which it's to women that are pregnant, postpartum, or breastfeeding, to infants, and then for children up to age 5. There's a residential requirement, but it's only that you must live in the state in which you apply. The nutrition risk requirement is that all children and infants must be seen by a health professional who must determine whether the individual is at a nutrition risk. Based off that, they can come up with a nutrition plan, and obviously if it is way extensive, then they will contact social services. Lastly, the income requirements. Your income must be at or below an income level or standard set by state agency. And here is from WIC itself, which is the 2021 to 2022 income eligibility. And basically, it'll show your household size and how much you make. And from that, you can find out if you are eligible financially based off your income to apply for WIC. So WIC is funded annually through the U.S. Senate and House Appropriations Committee. The USDA Food and Nutrition Services drafts WIC's annual budget proposal. They then bring that to Congress, who decides funding level based off the budget proposal. So I actually did a survey of my own, and it's obviously going to be not that many people, but I just wanted to go ahead and get, my feet wet with the surveys, and I wanted to see, based off the people that I knew in my area in Onslow County, who knew what WIC was, who knew how to apply for it, was it beneficial. So out of the 21 people that responded, 85.7% knew what WIC was, 9.5% did not, and the rest had heard of it but didn't know what it was. Out of the 21 people, 61.9% had used WIC and 38.1% had not. So it looks like 2/3 out of the people I asked had used it, which makes sense. I live in Onslow County, which does have a higher poverty rate. If yes, was it beneficial? 80% said yes, 20% said no. And then I asked, if yes, what was beneficial about it? If no, it was not beneficial. Answer both if applicable. Some of the answers were: it helped me financially when I didn't have the funds, helped in a time of need to feed my baby's formula while I was out of work, I never used WIC nor know what it is. WIC is a great program for those eligible. My family did it while fostering children. It was beneficial and absolutely needed, definitely lessened the load. Helped with formula. It provided nutritional food for our family, supporting me breastfeeding, and kept a check on the kids' weight and growth. Someone said it was mixed, but mostly a positive experience. Positive because it's stuff they already bought, but there was not enough cash for fresh produce, and finding the specific item that matched the voucher was tough, and people sometimes made rude comments or rolled their eyes when they saw that they were using a WIC voucher. And then someone said, while breastfeeding on WIC, it provided lots of things we use on a daily basis, allowed us to put more money towards bills, and it was beneficial for their family when their kids were younger, as it helped them provide things that they needed. Lastly, I asked, do you know how to apply for WIC? 66.7% said yes, 33.3% said no, so it looks about 1/3 of the people that I asked did not know how to apply for WIC. WIC in public health. So WIC is a preventative public health nutrition program. It uses 2 out of the 3 P's that we learned, which is preventing malnutrition in infants and children while promoting a healthy population. And I'm sure you could also add in the 3rd P of protection, protecting children from malnutrition. Outcomes, the WIC's website actually listed what their outcomes were that they were hoping to reach, and that was healthy birth outcomes, increased breastfeeding rates, adequate growth and development, increased consumption of key nutrients, increased nutrient density of diet, decreased prevalence of anemia, and improved likelihood of immunization. Lastly, the education that is associated with public health in WIC. They like to educate people on nutritional importance in infants and children by providing, being able to meet with a nutritionist, providing nutritional food. They're really into the nutritional importance in children and infants. Also, importance of breastfeeding. They do that by providing the peer counselors and much support. They want to increase the breastfeeding rate, and then they educate on the importance of immunization. I really like this model that WIC provided. It shows the public health problems. So, for example, higher rates of low and very low birth weight babies. Then it shows behavioral and environmental factors. So, inadequate intake of nutrient food, lack of regular access to healthcare. Then you add in the public health program, which would be nutrition education, breastfeeding education support, which then can lead to short-term outcomes. So increased health knowledge, improved nutritional intake, which then, based off those short-term outcomes, can lead to those long-term outcomes, decreased rates of anemia, reduced infant mortality rates, adequate physical growth and cognitive development, etc. Lastly, I wanted to provide my references. I use USDA's website to look up the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for women, infants, and children. National WIC Association released the role of WIC in public health, which is able to provide me with that last slide and some statistics on their outcomes. Benefits.gov gave me some more statistical information. I found the WIC eligibility requirements on USDA's website, and then the WIC program overview and history I found on National WIC Association's website in itself. So I hope I was able to teach you a little bit more about WIC and its role in public health. I do think it's very prevalent in public health today, and that it's a really good program for those that are eligible and that would need it. So thank you for listening, and bye.